Listen, as someone who is a woman who has 2 scars that go from hip to hip because I've had 2 C-sections in an effort to provide for my family and create a family for my family, I understand sacrifice. A black woman in this country whose mortality rates are incredibly high, I understand making sacrifices and trying to mitigate risk when it comes to your family, expanding your family and protecting your family. All I am saying...
She found a way to make Tua's concussion about being a black woman with a higher mortality rate. And by the way, that's
ESPN for you guys. That's what's going on ESPN. I remember we made a joke on the podcast once about, like, we turned on, or we were at a restaurant and saw ESPN on, and it was 4 women talking about the NFL.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Rumble. I'm here with Chris Keene, comedian Chris Keene. I'm also here with the miserable liberal Steph Zamorano.
Hi, Jimmy. It's nice to be here, guys.
They call him Chris Keene because his comedy is keen. I'm keen on seeing some comedy from Chris Keene.
I promise my bits are better than that, guys. I promise. I'm just kidding.
It's doubtful. It's doubtful. We'll see. My joke could be something different on the inside. Big breaking news today. You know, they had the LA fires where the city burned down, the Pacific Palisades completely burned down. Guess who they claim they found the guy. We got him. A year and a half later, or a year and
almost a year.
Year and 2/3 later, they got him. So a Florida man accused of intentionally starting fire that destroyed Pacific Palisades. Hang on a second. This is the guy.
It's going to be a year in January.
What?
It will be a year in January.
What will be?
The fires.
No. It was January this year? Are you kidding me? All right, let's start this over then. I got that. Really? It was this January? I thought it was January a year ago. Okay, let's start it over. Hey, they got the guy who started the Pacific Palisades fires. You know, where the whole city burned down because they drained the reservoir of 115 million gallons of water that was right above the Pacific Palisades, and then everybody pretended that didn't happen. And then they none of the fire hydrants worked, and most of the fire trucks were in for repair, and they were closing down fire stations for inexplicable reasons. And then the fire chief, the lesbian fire chief, blew the whistle that they were cutting their budget and closing down fire stations, and they fired her. Isn't that amazing? And only a black woman could get away with firing a white lesbian. So they got it. It's a Florida man accused of intentionally starting a fire that destroyed Pacific Palisades. So 10 months after, we got him. We got him. Was that, by the way, was the guy's name Gavin Newsom? Because that's who couldn't wait for the entire area to look like Dresden, and now they're putting high density apartments in the Pacific Palisades. They have to put in a bus terminal right on the Pacific Ocean. Anyway, it's just a lot's going on. They're putting of course, they got rid of all the single family dwellings, and they're putting in high density housing in the Pacific Palisades, just like they're going to do in Altadena, where the other fire was. That's the guy. There he is right there. So his name is Jonathan Rinderknecht. Rinderknecht. I can't say it.
Rinderknecht.
Okay. On a criminal complaint charging him with maliciously starting what became the Pacific Palisades fire in January. On New Year's Day, they say he started it, but the real fire didn't start for days. So here we go. Here's the press conference.
Destroying more than 6,800.
All right, over to Steph momentarily.
All right, camera 4. Oh, that was crazy. I don't know how that happened.
That?
I don't know.
I'm serious. What is that? Oh, okay.
Saw all of you in Appleton the day after Charlie got deleted. I was in the mood to laugh, but you 3 did great, and I felt so much better after the show. Thanks for the message of unity at the end. Thank you so much for that. Intech9, much appreciated. Careful, Jim. Your song is catchy. MAGA for Palestine. Crystal Waters. Thank you, Crystal. Tyler's family have hired 3 top lawyers to defend him. Finbar. Candace needs to say who showed her the camera footage behind Charlie. She should just release it all at once. Finbar. Jimmy keeps saying Owen. It's Owens, as you were.
I meant to
so
say
Owens.
I meant to say.
So, Steph, let your dogs listen to some DMX barking, a karaoke DMX for your dogs. I'm going to, unvaccinated guy. Charlie actually must have been a good guy. If not, Israel/Mossad/CIA would blackmail him into submission. If you are honorable, they X you out. Unvaccinated guy. Interesting response on that one. If the Fonz and Luigi Mangione had a baby, it would be Jimmy's guest. I think you're right there, unvaccinated guy. That was some good work. Yeah, Fonz and Luigi. All right, as you were, much appreciated. He said he wished he looked like Luigi Mangione. Has he tried to kill anyone? No, he hasn't. He just likes to kill in the clubs. You see what I'm doing there? Bumclat said regarding Hassan Piker, they like discipline. That's right. Ladies like to be slapped, too. All right. Oh, Woodchest, what are you doing? Coming in strong. Hold on, let's do this big one. Ooh. All right. Israel was made in the 40s. It's a strange hold to cause conflict in the region brought on by empire. The British Empire, not Jews, but like all these other conflicts, they can pit people against each other to start wars to fund the empire. Thank you so much, Woodchest. What are you up to, Woodchest? Hassan self-admittedly went to a Diddy party. The more you know, Atagan. I hope he tried some of his bro tips at that party. Yeah, if you use a shock collar on a dog, you're not supposed to use it on the Steve O setting. Fret pound. Piker likes to give dogs finger quotes. The shocker. Fret pound. I bet his Uncle Junk uses shock collars for his equine keek. Thank you, F. Paso. To find out how we've been lied to about American history, read Howard Zinn's A People's History of the United States. Fabulous. Also watch the documentary. Terrific. Alrighty. I want an MMA charity match with Hassan Piker for his charity. Set it up. And I'm willing to fly to any city. Unvaccinated guy. I love that. You're throwing down with Piker for a MMA match. Oh, I think that would be terrific. The IDF just asked Hassan if he's interested in running for prime minister after Bibi, German Condor. That poor dog. Imagine if roles was reversed. No kidding, Finbar. I think everybody who saw that wants that to happen. You know? Does that make me a bad person? Does it? All right, let's see here. Last one that I can read. I love how Jimmy is smearing Hassan with all the other Zionists. Good job. Yeah, great job. I don't know. Hassan is such a nice guy. He's nice. He has a heart of gold. He just was really trying to express himself, and his dog was like confused him. So I'm sure he takes his dogs for walks and plays all that good stuff. All right, let's look here. Dog would probably have more compassion and let Hassan roam the house free. I don't know. I just don't understand. I've always let my dog run around free. Like I can't imagine like making our dog.
Why we're here. We appreciate you joining us. I want to get you.
Brownie would sit here in the room the whole time, but he was asleep and he was a little old guy. So, but if he wanted to get up, I wouldn't like zap him. You know what? I don't know. Wouldn't it be kind of fun, Misha, if you had a shock collar?
Yes.
She's wearing hers now. That's the fun. That's why she said yes, right? Zzz. All right, let's see here. So how does a guy from Florida start directed energy weapons fire on January 10th using fireworks on New Year's Eve? I smell a sacrificial lamb. Oh, interesting. Another worldview. Much appreciated. Oh, Quiet Frog. You're very upset about comedy clubs. Fuck comedy clubs. Fuck them. What happened? Did it not go well? Did you have a bad set last night? Is that what's happening? All right, let's see what we got here. This just in. I am shocked the Young Turks put out that video with Hassan. Thought it was a safe space for women with Anna wearing those short skirts, right, JD? They're new
skirts. Okay, come to me.
All right, back here we go. I'm not going to read that one, Steve Wills. That's funny. Wow, that has a lot of imagery there. I won't be reading that one. Unvaccinated guy has a counterpart vaccinated guy, like good Captain Kirk and bad Captain Kirk. Please take this one. Thank you for that one.
Let me try it again.
All right, we're going to try this.
Earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800.
Oh my God. Over stuff.
All right, here we go.
What in the F?
Somebody says unvaccinated guy is Fauci. I don't think so. I don't think so. Piker had just watched the South Park Beefcake episode in which Cartman was so beefcake he couldn't even get on the bus, kind of like Piker in that little normal sized chair. Herb Green, that's funny.
Okay, let's try this.
Brownie was awesome. Shio Matsuru Masumu. No.
Okay, let's try this.
In connection with starting the Palisades fire, that devastating fire that killed 12 people. You remember some of the images. But let's go ahead and listen in. I know this is something of national interest. Let's go ahead and listen in to this news conference live from Los Angeles.
Burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800.
Oh my God. What the hell?
What is that? Is that purposefully?
I don't know what's going on. So it's got something to do with how Malcolm recorded it. Okay, back over to Steph.
All right. Just remember, it always starts with animals. These, you're right, Medi Shell. You are correct about this. Remember, it always starts with animals. These are the same psychopaths you find out years later were torturing people in their basement. Yeah, there is something to that. All right, Hassan Piker is a dog groomer. Stoop sign. When things don't work repeatedly, there's usually a good energetic reason for that. Oh, Sound Chaser. Thank you for that one, Sound Chaser. All right, moving on. Oh, Camera 4, I love it. Thank you so much. Did I get to that one? Yes, I did. Sound Chaser and Medi Shell. Thank you for that one. All right. Let's go. Where did that come? Oh, it was lovely. If outer space was a vacuum, those rinky-dinky suits and all would implode. Look at the Titanic sub thing. That would be worse, but in reverse. Canary Kev, you've been thinking hard about that one. I appreciate that. Oh, MK22 says that they agree that Misha needs a shocker. I know. It'd be way easier to work with, I think. Yeah, Brenda says I had 2 kitties and let them do their own kitty thing. No kidding, right? Why wouldn't they? Oh, let's see here. Melsh, you were correct about Brownie. Let's see here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Are you coming to some of our shows? Do you know where to go to buy your tickets? You go to jimmydore.com and you let that window fall, find the tour dates, and you grab a ticket through those links. Those will take you directly to the proper link. You know, a lot of times if you do like a search engine and you're like, oh, where's Jimmy Dore? If it's coming, just go to our website, jimmydore.com, and you'll find a link to all of our upcoming shows. Are you coming to Irvine on October 19th? I think I'm going to be inviting some friends to that show. Let's see if they come. Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Burbank, Pottstown, ladies and gentlemen. And you can get all your tickets at jimmydore.com. Okay.
I texted you.
Let's try this. Come to me.
We're going to try one more.
No? It's weird because it play. Okay, back to Steph.
All right.
I texted her.
The team is emailing you, trying to get it.
Okay, we're going to do it like this.
In the Belfry, Steph is a peach. Thank you. I do like peaches. Let's see here.
Okay, come to me.
Oh, back to Jimmy.
A devastating fire that killed 12 people. You remember some of the images. Let's go ahead and listen in. I know this is something of national interest. Let's go ahead and listen in to this news conference live from Los Angeles.
burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Over to Steph.
All right. Richie says, I'm sweet and a spicy candy. Who doesn't want to hear that one? JD, come back to St. Louis, right? I feel like we were just there. All right, let's look here. No bondage action, Laguna Seca. Bondage action. All right, let's see. My dog can even go outside when she wants. She has a dog door. Hazel Kitty. Hazel Kitty, you know, Betsy can go in and out of the house while we're doing the show. And, you know, it's always great. You know, she's usually comes right back in the house. And then it's like a dog door. Jimmy? A dog door. Are you ever afraid like a possum will come in or other things will come in? A dog door. Morty 111 Brisbane. I've been
Good morning.
I've been trying to learn how to say it correctly. Somebody told us how to say these correctly, so thanks for noticing. You got that right, Stoop Sign. Occasionally I do. All right. Let's see here, ladies and gentlemen. The ABC, CIA, television, Disney media told us to believe that the Afghanistan goat herder were a threat. They make a great cocaine and heroin for us. Jay Bourne. Huh? Jay Bourne, thank you for that.
Okay, back to me.
All right, back to Jim.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Bill Asaley, the acting United States Attorney for the Central District of California. Today, we are announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht for igniting a fire that ultimately burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800 structures, both homes and businesses, and damaging over 1,000 more buildings. The complaint unsealed today charges the defendant with destruction of property by means of fire, a felony that carries a mandatory minimum 5-year federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in federal prison.
So, well, there's anyway. So, there's more to that. I wish we had it. Hang on. Go to Steph again.
All right.
Motherfucker.
Sound Chaser, you've jumped timelines and that reality no longer exists. That's so funny. That sounds like something Kamala Harris would say. You've jumped the timeline and that reality no longer exists.
Okay, come to me.
All right. The significance of timelines cannot be overstated. What can be unburned? All right, here we go. All right. All right, thank you. Biff Littleton. I love it. Let's see what else we have. You know what? We watched this series last night. You know, first off, I'm a big fan of
West 2 News starts
Mr. Robot. I'm going to give it like maybe 2 months. I'm probably going to watch it again. It's such a good series. But we watched that documentary with Mariska, is it Hargitay? And it was about her mom, Jane Mansfield. Great documentary. It's a really interesting documentary. We were talking to our friend Molly in San Francisco, and she was telling us about the I started to watch it, and Jane Mansfield was quite the bombshell.
Okay, here we go.
Check it out.
with breaking news.
And that breaking news involves one of the biggest California wildfires in history. A man living in Melbourne, here in Central Florida, has been arrested, accused of igniting the Palisades fire.
29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht is accused of lighting that fire that started on New Year's Day. And WESH 2 was at the courthouse in Orlando as he appeared in court this afternoon. Our team coverage tonight begins with WESH 2's investigative reporter Justin Checker, live in Orlando.
And Justin, you saw him walk into the courtroom.
You saw
That's
with your
right.
own
Just
eyes.
after 2 this afternoon, U.S. Marshals brought 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht into the courtroom here in downtown Orlando.
Is that guy wearing a yarmulke, or is he just combs his hair like that?
Just combing his hair.
Both his hands and feet were shackled, and he sat next to his court-appointed public defender as the U.S. government begins prosecuting him for starting the deadly and destructive Palisades fire. This Central Florida man is now in federal custody, accused of sparking what would become one of the most destructive fires ever in Southern California.
Today, we are announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht for igniting a fire that ultimately burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800 structures, both homes and businesses, and damaging over 1,000 more buildings.
The federal criminal complaint unsealed on Wednesday charges Jonathan Rinderknecht with destruction of property by means of fire.
A felony that carries a mandatory minimum 5-year federal prison sentence and is punishable by up to 20 years in federal prison.
According to the complaint, Rinderknecht was working as an Uber driver on New Year's Eve. After dropping off a passenger in the Pacific Palisades, investigators say he intentionally ignited the Lockman fire.
The allegations are further supported by the defendant's cell phone, his false statements to law enforcement, and his behavior during the Lockman fire, which the defendant is charged with maliciously starting shortly after midnight on New Year's Day of this year, and which eventually became the Palisades fire.
During a news conference Wednesday in Los Angeles, before Rinderknecht's initial appearance in an Orlando courtroom, the Department of Justice showed a ChatGPT image that investigators say he produced a few months before the devastating Palisades.
So do you see this? These are pictures. So he talked to ChatGPT and asked them, can you create an image of a fire burning down parts of Los Angeles? And so that's what this is. They're using this in their press conference to show you his conversations with ChatGPT. So just a big reminder, your ChatGPTs are forever. So just be careful what you ask.
Ooh.
The allegations in the affidavit are supported by digital evidence, including the defendant's ChatGPT prompt of a dystopian painting showing in part a burning forest and a crowd fleeing from it.
And Jonathan Rinderknecht will be back in the same federal courtroom here in downtown Orlando tomorrow morning at 9:45. Attorneys for the DOJ will be asking the court to keep him in federal custody without bond. Covering Orange County Live in downtown Orlando, I'm Justin Shecker, WESH 2 News.
And our team coverage continues tonight in Brevard County, where Jonathan Rinderknecht is currently living. WESH 2's Brevard County Bureau reporter Megan Moriarty is joining us live in West Melbourne with some new details of his arrest. Megan.
West Melbourne Police tells me that they assisted ATF in arresting Rinderknecht yesterday during a traffic stop after he left his home near the Sawgrass Lakes community. Now, in doing a search, we learned that the 29-year-old does not have a criminal history here in Brevard County. He does have 2 speeding tickets, and we spoke with neighbors in the area who say that the family there mostly kept to themselves.
So to me, he looks like Lee Harvey Rinderknecht.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like to me. Okay.
They would have never expected something like this. West Melbourne Police could not give us any more information other than that. Covering West Melbourne in Brevard County, Megan Moriarty, WESH 2 News.
All right, Megan, thank you. Our team coverage continues now with the damage the Palisades fire caused earlier this year. WESH 2's Summer Knowles is here. Summer, this fire killed 12 people.
Okay, we got it. All right. Let me get back to the my prepared material. So here is from the LA Times talking about this. They say that in the 5 minutes after he allegedly set the fire, prosecutors said Rinderknecht called 911 several times, but didn't get through because he didn't have self-service. So they can even, okay. When he finally reached 911, he was at the bottom of the hiking trail and reported the fire. By that time, a resident had already reported the blaze. So the guy starts the fire and then he calls it in?
I didn't understand that.
Right? While on the phone with 911, Rinderknecht allegedly typed a question into ChatGPT. Are you at fault if a fire is lit because of your cigarette?
Sounds like an accident.
So now it sounds like an accident.
Yeah.
Right? Come on. If you believe that this is the real story, I've got some land to sell you in Malibu, if you know what I'm talking about. Are you sure he didn't also have bullets on it with trans lipstick writing on them? Because that's what this sounds like to me. Okay, let's... although he was arrested in Florida, authorities say he lived in Southern California at the time of the fire and had a friend who lives near where the fire started. He moved to Florida after the fire and made false statements to authorities, saying he first saw the fire after he left the hidden Buddha clearing and walked down the trail towards his car. However, authorities said GPS data from his phone showed he was standing in the clearing when he first called 911. Rinderneck could not be reached for comment and is in custody in Florida. Water-dropping helicopters initially were not able to fly the night of Lockman fire because of the wind, according to the agency. But around 1:40 a.m., they began launching an aerial attack with support crews on the ground. News footage captured the charge with walls of flames towering over homes and firefighters with hoses running into backyards. Okay. Shortly after 3:30 a.m., LA Fire Department officials reported they had stopped forward progress of the blaze. A little over an hour later, the fire department reported that they had completed the hose line around the perimeter of the fire and it is fully contained. However, some firefighters remained at the site to mop up and to ensure the fire didn't flare up again. And then the next day, on January 2nd, firefighters returned to the site to collect the fire hoses, saying that it appeared the fire was fully extinguished. The announcement could place scrutiny on Los Angeles fire officials for their handling of the 8-acre fire, prompting questions about why they were not able to fully extinguish it. So it sounds to me like, because I have no, but the theory, it sounds quickly, just surface reading that the guy started a fire with a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then immediately tried to call it in. And he didn't have cell service. But then he lied about where he was when he called 911. Who knows? But it seems like the fire department thought they had that fire put out, and then they left. They went back the next day even. Got their equipment they'd left there and left, and they were like, fire's out. But the fire wasn't out. So that's why they said this could place scrutiny on the LA Fire Department, LA fire officials, prompting questions about why they were not able to fully extinguish it before hurricane-force winds blew into the area and fanned an ember buried within the roots of dense vegetation. This affidavit puts the responsibility on the fire department. There needs to be a commission examining why this rekindled fire was allowed to reignite. Who said that? That is Ed Norskog, a former head of LA County Sheriff's Department's arson unit. So he's pointing the finger at the fire department, the former head of the LA County's Sheriff's arson unit. Well, of course, the fire department declined to detail whether they conducted thermal imaging of the area. I guess they're supposed to do that.
Yes.
Which agencies frequently perform to find hotspots during periods when there is no visible light or in conditions with heavy smog or mist. Kenny Cooper, special agent in charge of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, who was involved in the probe, downplayed firefighters' role in failing to prevent the rekindling, saying that the blaze burned deep within the ground and remained active for days. The person who started this fire is solely to blame, says that guy. I will never blame our brave firefighter. Okay, all right. By mid-morning on January 7th, firefighters were back at the same Palisades hillside amid hurricane-force winds, fighting what would become a much larger inferno. The Palisades fire experts say it's possible for a blaze to rekindle days, even months, after an initial fire is thought to be extinguished, though that isn't typical. Months? That seems a stretch. I'm no fire expert, but come on. Embers can get buried in tree roots or underbrush covered by heavy ash and then later be freed by strong winds. Really? Okay. Some other destructive fires in recent decades have also been restarts of older fires. The immense Oakland Hills fire in 1991, which destroyed 2,500 structures, exploded after firefighters believed they contained a 6-acre fire the day before. Firefighters left equipment at the scene but did not continuously monitor it. Winds picked up and the conflagration consumed homes. The Maui fire, the deadliest fire in U.S. in more than a century, killed at least 101 people and also ignited from an earlier brush fire caused by downed power lines that firefighters believed they had snuffed. Okay. All right. Well, the cops turned people around and back into the blaze in Maui, and probably should be up on mass murder charges, but whatever. Whatever. I'll let it slide. So they're trying to pin it on this guy, and his looks like a cigarette. So if you're going to believe his one chat GBT interaction, you got to believe the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like he was smoking a cigarette and threw his cigarette out, and it started a brush fire. And so he tried to call 911 right away. So they got a guy, but it looks like the fire department didn't put the fire out. That's what it looks like. So I doubt this guy's going to do time. I doubt this guy's going to do time. He may have been the guy that started the fire, but from this it doesn't seem intentional, does it? His other chat GBT does look suspicious, but there it is. They got a guy. That's all we can say is they got a guy. His chat GBT said it looked like he started with a cigarette, and he tried to call right away. He tried to call 911 right away, but he didn't have cell service. So these are all, that's a big mitigating circumstance, I think, that the guy tried to call 911 and that he did chat GBT. Hey, can you be held responsible for a fire starter with a cigarette butt? Or maybe that's his plan to say, I started with a cigarette butt. Maybe that was his, like, how can I get out of this? Maybe that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, the fact that he called 911 right away, that's a mitigating circumstance that I think will probably get him off with no jail time. Well, what do you say?
The headline really blows my mind. Florida man accused of intentionally starting fire. It makes it seem like he's like guilty when I read that. Just on first.
Well, he's accused of.
Yeah, I mean, it is technically true, but it just, when I saw that and read it, I was like, oh, this guy did this on purpose. And then you read it, and it sounds more like an accident.
It's a little more murky.
Yeah.
But maybe, who knows? Maybe, why would he start a fire and then call 911? Right? Why would he intentionally start a fire and then call 911? Who knows? Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I think that the fact that he did call 911 3 times, actually a 4th time, because the first 3 didn't go through. So he called them 4 times. It wasn't like,
that's crazy.
Yeah. So
it said he drove for Uber. I used to drive for Uber in the city. It made me want to burn the place down.
Pyros.
So
yeah, most Uber drivers are pyros. But here, watch how I scratch myself. That's a nice scratch. All right. Well, you know what? I have a nice chunk. I have a nice chunk of comedy material about the LA fires. If you'd like to hear that, come see me in Irvine on October 19th. I'll be in Australia. If you can't get a ticket, come back because we're adding new shows. The shows are selling out really fast. Don't worry. We're going to have more shows. And then we'll see you in Burbank, California, the day after Thanksgiving. That's a Friday. Everybody's off. Then we'll see you in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, December 6th. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
Thank you. All right. The people they blame for these things are Manchurian candidates. Either they didn't know they did it or they believe they did. Sound chaser. Okay, let's add that one that we just got. Direct energy weapon. Sound chaser wants to remind us all. Pigs are smarter than dogs. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here. Cows are emotional mammals as well. Think about what you're saying about dogs and apply that to all the mammals we mistreat. Lisa Lightning. Oh, I hear you, Lisa. Go with this one. What did the cigarette butt have written on it? Notice camel toe, OWO. What's this?
Jesus Christ.
Will Henderson. Thank you, Will. All right, let's go here. What do we got? Some more. Let's see. Maui Mayor Bison's famous words, I got nothing for you. I got nothing for you at press conference 2-3 days after fires. Pono. Thank you for that one, Pono. All right, let's see here. Interesting, Jay Byrne. All right, let's see. Oh, you know what? We were talking the other day about, oh, look at you, Adam Carolla for governor, CJ Prumble. You ready, Jimmy?
I'd vote for him.
All right, back to Jim.